Hello and welcome to the Knowledge Panel Show, episode 25, How to Keep Your SEO Clients Happy. And as normal, I've got a great panel in with me. We've got one down due to COVID, I'm afraid, but Sara, Himani and Jake are with us, and hopefully we're going to have a great chat over the next 45 minutes over how to keep your SEO clients happy. We can probably use the fact that I've just said no to giving somebody a refund as a bad example of how to keep your clients happy, and we can talk about whether you should or shouldn't. But a great team to get going with. Why don't I ask you guys to start off by saying who are you and where do you come from? Sara, why don't you go, because I couldn't pronounce your surname, so you're going to have to say it yourself to us all.
Okay, I will do it. So my name is Sara Moccand-Sayegh. So worse than that, it couldn't be. And I work at Leap, which is a mobile and development agency, and I do SEO for the clients of that come to us to build a website, and I do SEO from some clients that just come for SEO and analytics.
And you're sort of a huge company there, aren't you? So.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably the largest development company than there is in Switzerland. Okay. Yeah, I didn't say that. I come from Switzerland.
All right.
So
Okay.
that is
fair dues.
Yeah, it is like that.
Thanks for coming on the show, Sara. Himani, tell us about yourself. Where do you come from?
Hey everyone, I am Himani Kankaria from India, and I own an organic marketing agency which specializes on content-driven SEO. So we are mostly into, content optimization, on-page optimization, and all of those stuff. And we really aggressively target featured snippets. So, every content that comes, it's featured snippets is the first target that we keep.
Okay, quite specific. So that sounds a good plan. Jake, how about you? Who are you and where do you come from?
Hi everyone, my name is Jake Gauntley. I'm from the northeast of England, but currently live in sunny London, very sunny today. Started working in SEO in 2011, so just over a decade in the game. Currently working at Reprise Digital here in London. Been here for the last 5 years, manage a team of 6 people, and we cover some large multi-market global SEO accounts.
Welcome to the show, Jake. So Jake and I are in sunny UK, and sunny UK is approaching 40 degrees today, so which is going to be a record for us. So we have one other person from the UK in the building as well, David, my producer. I'll bring David in. David, what have I missed out today?
Oh, you're getting very good at not missing things out, actually. I don't know if there's any job for me anymore, Dixon.
there certainly is.
Look, I just want to share with the listener, you're probably listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, one of those platforms. If you are, come and join us live next time if you can. theknowledgepanelshow.com. Sign up to watch the next show live. Join the hilarity, ask some questions live, and hopefully we'll see you there next time.
Okay, so let's start off with my my new phrase, the tip at the top. One takeaway: if people haven't got time to hang around for 45 minutes, when it comes to keeping your SEO clients happy, what one tip at the top would you guys give? And let's go in the other order now. So, Jake, why don't you go first?
Sure, yeah. So without a doubt, my tip at the top would have to be education. I think it's so important. Right way through a relationship from the second you start kind of working with the client or prospect to kind of fully educate them, not only on the processes of the agency, but also about kind of SEO itself. The more you can kind of help educate a client, the more likely they'll be useful in kind of getting things implemented and being able to communicate more effectively to get what you want done.
Excellent tip, and I think one that would resonate with a lot of SEO agencies and possibly their customers as well. Himani, how about you? What thought have you got?
Sorry, can you please come again? I had some network issues over
No
here.
worries. If you've got, I'll tell you what, I'll go to Sara and come back. Sara, what tip have you got for one tip for a takeaway if people haven't got 45 minutes to stay?
Yeah, for me, I think that is communication, but it's very connected to educating people, because in the reality, like I like to have clients and I speak to them like once per week or every 2 weeks, and then automatically you educate them about SEO, the how we should work together, and so communication for me is the main tip.
So, how often will you jump in and talk to your customers?
So it depends. It depends. I have some customer, then they come for the development, just do a website migration, and then I don't see them anymore. That is very sad. And then I have like a customer, then I like they follow me. I follow them, and then we regularly speak like the largest one maybe once per week, another one like one per month. But we have like regular meetings, and I love that. I love that. I live for that.
Brilliant. Okay, Himani, if I can come back to you, if there's a tip that you can give our listeners to take away.
Absolutely. So I totally agree with Sara. It's something communication is, I mean, I have been the key with Mr. Digital. And we have seen that, the more we talk with them, the more we showcase that the decision making is already taken by us. That's where, they feel like, okay, we have partnered with the right agency. So they need two things. They need to, most of the time they are so much overwhelmed with all of the tasks that they already have, most of the business owner and the marketing heads. What they need is the decision making should be done by the agencies, and they should just inform us that this is what they are doing, and whether I mean the client should just approve that whether we are on the right direction or not. So decision making, they want to offload the decision making, but while having really high on the communication side, even if it is possible that just email them for everything that you're doing, and even just keep them in CC when you are talking with everyone, and even maybe having calls with their development teams regularly, so they feel that okay, they are actually concerned about our website and our services, and that's how they will help us.
So, can I ask for clarification there? So, are you saying that the agency should be leading the decision making, or the customer should be leading the decision making?
No, usually, I mean, what has happened with us is that, most of these SaaS companies, they try and I mean, they are always looking for a SEO agency, which, takes the decision based on the customer
Oh, you seem to.
way, where they are like, they have to every time pitch in and take the decision. They don't appreciate that. So that's why they want that, the SEO agency should identify the challenges, and also they should be coming up with a solution. They will just play, that kind of role where they just have to, just give the approval or the rejection. That's it.
Okay, is that in your Jake and Sara, in your experience, is that the same? The same? Would you say that, or do you think it depends from client to client, Jake?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends client to client. I think in some instances, from my experience,
I can't believe I just said it depends. I'm sorry. I did that. I did that all by myself. Sorry about
yeah,
that.
that was all you. In some instances, I think you have to be like quite collaborative with clients. So, for example, recently we've been working on a hreflang project with a client, and the usual way that we would recommend the client implement that across their sites kind of isn't possible with how their websites are set up. So we've got to be more collaborative in coming to a recommendation that works for them as well as what we kind of want to do as the SEO agency. But I think we would always go in with like, this is what we would recommend, best case scenario, and what you should be doing. But then there's always got to be that communication and open dialogue. It's like, well, what can we actually do with the system that you guys have got in place?
Okay. Yeah. So Sarah, you find the same, or
So for me, it depends on the expertise of the clients also. Sometimes on the other side, you find clients, then they have zero expertise and they come to you and they're like, so what should I do? And then you have all the process now behind that kind of clients. And then you have some clients that have already more expertise, and then it's more a collaboration with them. And yeah, as Jake said, then it's more
So that basically, I mean, and Monsi's jumped in and said it depends, because it does, from the audience. So thanks for jumping in, Monsi. But I think that then means that it does depend possibly on whether the right client is matching up with the right agency, doesn't it? Because some clients are very educated, or would think they're very educated. They may or may not be, and others maybe less so. If they're less educated, then of course they have to allow the agency to lead. But if they know what they want, then maybe they're taking a more hands-on approach, and the agency is sort of having to fulfill the content requirements or whatever the message of the day is. And I think maybe that's all about aligning expectations, I suppose. Trying to find that you've got the right customer for your way to work is probably a good thing. And I think we were talking about before we're coming on, choosing the right clients. Sara, did you say you had the luxury of being able to choose your clients?
Exactly the opposite.
Oh, right. You don't have the opportunity to.
No, okay, because it is like this. So I have two type of clients. So when I say I mean the team, if the SEO analytics team have two type of clients. So one is externals, then they are not connected to the development agency. There we can set our rules. But then we have the clients that are connected to development agency. So they are clients, they are coming because they want a new website, and that is the core business of the agency, building new website. So now imagine that they're spending a bomb, and then I come and I say, listen, I really don't think that we are a good match.
Yeah, it's not going to work really internally. No, it's this the only choice they've got in town. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Himani, do you get the opportunity at all to select, or I suppose in some cases fire your clients?
I mean, I should not disclose this, but it's something that happened to us like 2 or 3 months ago, I believe. And there was a time where the client was very, very choosy on, say, focusing on challenge based and pain point based content strategy. And what was happening is that that was not aligning with the queries that actually their audience searches for, right? So that was the mismatch that was happening. We were constantly explaining them this, that you should be focusing on you need to focusing on the query based content strategy to make sure that your audiences search for you and you are there when they are searching for you, right? So it was like completely I mean, they just wanted that their performance marketing to work, and that's why they asked us that we need these kind of pages which were not at all created based on search intent, but they were mostly created based on the audience pain points, like say whether they would be looking something in a product for strategizing, something for collaboration, and something for analytics. So there was this product around that was from the finance industry, and it was something created in that ways, and we were not able to identify the queries that would fit in that page. So we were like literally tired of discussing that these are the keywords we need people, I mean, we need traffic from these queries and on these landing pages. And they were like, there were a lot of huge arguments and everything that was happening. And then finally we had to say that sorry, the expectations that you had given to us, sorry, we cannot match that, let's close this. So
Okay.
that was something, that happened. That was really crazy for us as well, because we invested a lot of time in doing all that, thousands and thousands of keyword research, clustering and mapping. And
Yeah.
then at the end of that, you are just telling them that, no, sorry, we cannot do things for you. And it was like, really,
It's,
even the team was shattered that we had to let them go.
it's a tiring day when that happens. I
Yeah. And it
sympathize.
was a high paying one,
Yeah. Well, yeah, as happens sometimes, I suppose. So, I mean, and the kind of ideas that you guys have come up with, thoughts you've come up with so far, fit into to the ones that I sort of picked up from, Search Engine Journal did something in in October of last year on the 6 most common reasons why SEO companies go wrong, and they were misaligned expectations. So very much similar to what you're saying. Misaligned expectations, a failure to educate the client, a lack of value for money, which we haven't just talked about. Your clients don't know what you're doing, which we kind of touched on. No visible results, fair enough. And the product wasn't ready for SEO. So there's 6 ideas, and I think all of those are probably worth touching on. But before I dive into those into more depth, I wanted to start with a sort of a happier kind of question. Have you ever done something that doesn't just keep your clients happy, but they suddenly really delighted? It might be sending them a birthday cake or something like that. But what is the icing on the cake moment that you might have that you've done with your clients, where a client has said, yeah, I'm really, really happy? I don't know, Jake, are you willing to go first on that one?
Sure. I haven't sent out any birthday cakes yet, but I'm going to make a note of that idea for the future. But again, going back to kind of what I said for my tip at the start of the show, I think all of the really successful accounts that I've been part of have been based around educating the client. Obviously, communication is a very important part of that, but kind of making sure that the client themselves are educated, and whether that is training your specific client contact as a person, or delivering training for the teams internally, client side, things like the PR teams, development teams, content teams, brand managers. The more that people client side know about how SEO works, I feel like that's where more can happen client side. I don't really have control of what happens client side. I can do great work for the agency, but as soon as I send my recommendations over, I'm relying on a completely different set of people to implement that. So if we can kind of get in there and be like business partners as well as service providers, we're helping to educate the people client side.
And how do you make that happen? What does training look like in your world?
So, I mean, if it's just kind of one-on-one with the client contact, it can be, relatively informal things. If you're taking them through a deliverable and they're not quite sure about things, you can spend some time explaining, more about canonical tags or more about kind of page speed and things like that. But then if they kind of spot a need for you to help the people their side, that can be more formal kind of workshops or like training sessions, SEO 101s, things like that.
So have you gone into their offices in the past and sat with them and gone through a formal sort of training sessions over particular ideas with groups of people from the client?
Yeah, quite a few. Common ones that we've done are SEO training for like in-house PR teams. Obviously, with link building, that's very, very handy. We've done stuff with developers in the past as well, just kind of giving a bit more context to what we were asking them to do. We've worked with kind of brand managers who part of their new role was to be in charge of local SEO. So we kind of give them a bit of an insight into about local SEO, and it just helps to kind of like upskill everybody, and in the long term will help organic performance.
Absolutely. Okay, back to the delight question, Sara or Himani. Does one of you want to jump in with a story of delight? Sara, do you want to go there?
So finally, I got it, the story of the light. I was like, what did I read? Okay, I have it. So I remember this one time, it was like last year. Normally, obviously, if you achieve results is what make clients happy. That is basically why they're paying you. But there was this one time, which was a nightmare. It was like the client wanted something that just a few people had, and it was a test by Google. So it was a nightmare. And finally, after a lot of go back and forwards between, I will not explain all the situation, but it was very difficult. With one of the developer inside the company, we obtained it. It was a live blog post, so with the written live blog during the match. And finally, when we obtained it, I remember I almost cried, and the developer too, because we have worked like 2 months crazily to obtain that. So it was not a developer inside my company, but outside, like from another company. And we were working every day trying to obtain that. And every day we were like depressed. No, not even today. And finally we obtained it. So the developer were like super happy. He was super proud in front of his team finally. I was proud in front of the client too. So that it was like client happy, I was happy, developer team was happy. That it was like a fantastic moment because finally we were all happy.
Brilliant. Good story. Himani, have you got anything to add on there?
Yeah, I mean, never had a, this kind of thing where we had to, send a cake or something, where things were really crazily challenging. But what we have, I mean, because there are some of the, large publishing sites who come to us and tell us that, hey, get us on the featured snippets and everything, right? So in that case, what happens is some pages take, lesser effort, and some pages take larger effort to, optimize those pages. So where we see that there are times, say, there is this client, they have like billions of organic traffic almost every month. So it's like there we have to optimize 10 pages a month. So what happened is that, two of their pages took really less effort, right? So what we did is, because we thought that it was very less effort, so we identified one more challenging page, and we delivered the optimization for the 11 pages. So that's what made them really happy, that okay, that you guys identified that it was the less effort, and you took the initiative and told us that okay, this is the page that you are taking up next for this month itself. So that little effort, helped us, and obviously there are areas where they feel that okay, they have given us something for free, you know so that's what make them really little happy.
And the thing that made you feel good there, I suppose, is that you find yourself on the front foot as opposed to being, at the beck and call of the customers,
Yeah.
demands and things there. Okay, brilliant. Let's get on to one of the reasons that was cited, not by you guys, but by a wider audience. That one of the reasons that customers aren't happy is they can't sense a concept of a value for money. How might you mitigate that and set it off so that doesn't become an issue? I don't know if anyone wants to stick their hand up and go first on that one. Sarah's switched off her microphone.
I go with
So
that.
you're going first. Go on.
Oh, Jake, you want to go? No, Bo, too late.
Go on,
Apparently
Sarah.
it's me. Okay. So I think that there is one of the thing that helps me and probably helps the client is to set the target and to set like the analytics goals. So that normally, if you reach them, it helps you to understand, okay, so I'm in the right way. And if not, then you're wrong. And then you have to assume, discuss with the client, and adapt.
So you're setting targets based on the amount of organic traffic or paid, or depends on your business model.
That it depends on the client a lot. I know that I shouldn't say depends because you said at the beginning, but again, sorry about that, but it depends. So the advantage, like I'm not like the best in analytics, to be honest. What I have is then I have the advantage that there is inside the team, there are like 4 people that are specialized in analytics. The entire day, it's analytics, tracking, doing workshop on analytics and everything. So my advantage is then I have them to support me. And then they will do some workshop, for example, with the client. I will be there. And then they will do, and then we can set the goals. And then they will drive the clients also to have the correct goal. And then like this, normally we are all happy at the end. If I don't arrive to the result, if that happens, okay, I will find an explanation to that, and then it makes
Okay,
it
I
easy.
might come back on that, but I think I'll let Himani and Jake jump in first as to how they might stop that from becoming an issue. Jake, do you want to go?
I mean, I think for me, on like the lack of value, it's more so being open and honest upfront at the beginning of the project about kind of what a client can expect for the money that they're paying for that project, and then finding out what value is to them. I mean, obviously for like a lot of e-commerce businesses, that's going to be make more money, but also like in terms of the client contact themselves, like are there any specific, metrics, vanity metrics, like goals personally that they have that you can then continuously tie the results back to? So, whether that's kind of using smaller impact reports to show like continuous progress of the tactics that you're doing, but then from a more strategic view in things like QBRs, that's when you're looking at the overall impact to money. Like I said, vanity metrics, if they've got their heart set on some page one generic non-brand ranking that they really want to rank for, but maybe wouldn't be super value for them, like, is that something that you say, oh, look, we're now ranking first page for this, that they will get a personal sense of value from? Or there's also the element of if they want to see the value for money with your recommendations, how can you tie recommendations to a monetary value before they've even recommended it? So using things like click-through rates, conversion rates, and average order value to be like, look, if you want value, this is the value of getting this keyword to position 5, position 4, position 3, position 2, position 1. And if they can see the monetary value for that, they're more likely to kind of be able to get the buy-in, like, all right, could be worth £10,000 a month or whatever. I think just tying it back to that monetary value kind of helps to show value from the beginning.
So, I mean, it's not always obvious, though, about... I'll jump in on that one as well afterwards. Himani, do you want to jump in first? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, many of, like, I would say 70% of the clients that we have are from the tech and the SaaS industry, right? So they have a lot of targets on MQLs. Even more than SQLs, they are focusing on marketing qualified leads. So it's like, that if they want to see whether, the services that we are providing that are value for money or not, it's something that, as Sara said, we have to tie it with the targets. And we always have, whenever we pitch the services, we always have those SMART goals attached to the proposal. So what happens is that they can understand that, okay, these many conversions we are expecting at by the end of this, say, quarter or something like that, right? So we have to tie that. And say, for example, when we see that we are maybe halfway or even say below that, right? Below those targets. So on that month itself, we take the precautions and we take the clarification calls in everything. And we try and set the another milestone to achieve. Because what happens is, if we don't let them know right in the advance, they will feel like that we were not proactive enough to take the right decisions at the right time. So that's why we also bind the goals that we want to achieve on the MQLs, SQLs, and the traffic, and then we have to constantly monitor it and make sure that even if we are not able to achieve, that's fine. They don't look at that, because SaaS founders and marketing heads are least concerned about whether they are achieving those targets or not, but they are most interested to know whether we are in the right direction or not. So when you showcase that okay, we are progressing, but the pace is slow, then it's fine. They are okay with it. But at least they should be having that feeling that okay, they are in the right hands. These people know what they are doing.
So I think I think you mentioned monetary qualified leads. Anyway, you were talking in terms of leads. Sara was talking in terms of traffic, and Jake was talking in terms of rankings. And I think therein lies my sort of second dig further kind of question, because I suspect that it's and until you've jumped on one of those choices, and got the customer to buy in as to what you're going to be, measured against, the customer will have a tendency often to change what they consider to be value for money when they're just testing and, paying that monthly bill. They're kind of saying, well, what have I got? And they will have a tendency, unless it's very, very clear, to choose whichever one you're not going with. And I think that it's not easy to know which one to go with, because to Sara's metric of traffic, that would be great, because you can sit there and say, well, it would have cost this much to get this much traffic from PPC, for example. So you can show value for money from that point of view. But we all know that, Himani, if you had one good lead, one really spot on visitor, that person could convert, and then your conversion rate is much better than the 100 or potentially 1,000 that come through from not a targeted PPC. And then Jake, your challenge lies in the between, because what's the difference in a value between a page 1 ranking and a page 5 ranking and a page 10 ranking, and then putting that across multiple keywords? It becomes a difficult thing for the customer to see. So I guess, and then also, Jake, you make that point. I'm sorry, I'm sort of covering all of the things there, and just putting in another question, really. But Jake, you make the point that different stakeholders may have different objectives. So your direct customer may have a vanity metric, but the CEO or the finance director probably has a how much cash am I paying out metric, and the marketing officers, it's how many visitors coming in. So there's different stakeholders within there. So I bring it back and say, well, is it a negotiation to try and set those targets to avoid an unsatisfied customer 6 months down the line, or do you always try and go in the same direction? I don't know if I said too much there, Jake. Your mic's off. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's always going to be a negotiation. Even if you kind of don't necessarily want it to be. Obviously, you're working with paying customers, and if they want to focus on, obviously top line revenue, traffic, things like that, are always going to be the most important KPIs of success. Businesses want to spend more money with an SEO agency to make more money, and if they're not making more money, then obviously that's when the questions start. But there can be instances, like going back to kind of rankings, where if demand for a particular product category or brand or something like that has fallen, and a client comes asking questions like, I'm not money, but you can show that actually, fewer people are searching for this product than they were last year. And here's some kind of backup KPIs, things like rankings, and you can pull in data from, search volumes, Google Trends, that kind of thing, to show that we have made SEO progress. But in order to kind of generate demand, that's maybe not a job for SEO. That's maybe another channel.
Himani, sorry, want to jump in at all on that, or let it run?
So I agree with Jake 100%. For me, there is like this workshop then helped me. Then I was saying before with the analytics team, then helped me a little bit like, okay, you have all these stakeholders and make them be a little bit aligned also. And then there is also, when I'm doing the job, I will try to figure out also based on this, for example, which kind of page we are targeting. No, so some will have a search intent and will go more for conversions. So I will go maybe more in that direction. Other it will be just because they want to have a lot of leads. So you go more in that direction and drive traffic there. So you have like also that to take into account.
Yeah. Okay. So Himani, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I believe that, I completely agree with Jake and Sarah. It's something that, that needs to keep going. And what has happened with, these days, it's like, same queries would have, indented results and everything. So it's something that, you cannot rely on, say, you've done something for 6 months and then there is nothing to do and nothing to go beyond after 6 months. It's nothing like that. It's always ever evolving. And because this is now, there is a lot to go beyond, just rankings is something that we also know that these days after COVID, people have started taking a lot of time to convert, right? So it's not something that they should only look at SEO for driving, business. It's the holistic approach that they have to take for digital marketing to make sure that every channel helps the other to make sure the business keeps going and the demand generation, keeps on improving.
Fair enough. So the thing then is, if you've got individual objectives for individual customers, and they're all unique, and I led you down this road for this question, so and then you've got all of your customers with a different kind of mentality of what they consider as value for money. One's pounds and pence, or dollars and cents, and one's visitors, and one's leads, and one's rankings. Doesn't that give a problem internally within agencies to try and develop internal systems that are going to help the agency grow? Because if every customer is totally different, does that mean that every SEO consultant within your agency has to be a real expert and, you know, really at the front of their game to be able to keep up? Or do you think there's an opportunity for different agencies to take different approaches? If that's a harsh question for anybody, then that's fine. But Jake seems to be happy to jump in. So no.
Yeah, I'll take that one. I mean, to be honest, I think all of the different things that you've just listed within that question, you know, rankings, revenue, traffic, are things that an SEO performance report would include anyway. It's
Right.
just more so when you're delivering kind of the insights or going through it with the client, maybe you would kind of lean towards one particular part of that. You know, is that the revenue? Do they want to look at, you know, user engagement of pages, things like that? I think generally you are going to be reporting on all those things, but it's more so how you then communicate success with the client as with that data.
That's a fair point. Okay, so and which you said the first time around is primary results and secondary results, which is a fair way to, so you kind of have them all, and then you just decide what the key performance indicator is for that particular client. Okay, what happens though when you jump in there and 6 months down the road you don't see results? Now, it may not be entirely your fault, because we do know as agencies that, you know, as Jake said, you know, he can produce the work to a good standard, give it to the customer, and then the customer doesn't act upon it. And I know from previous knowledge panel shows that this is something that happens, that, you know, the customer pays for all of your advice and consultancy, then doesn't do anything about it, and then blames you for it not happening. How are you going to get around that one, Himani?
I mean, that's so common, especially because, you know, the development, I mean, we don't develop and design in-house, right? So like the developers and the development team are with them, right? So what happens is whenever we recommend any UX suggestions or any tech implementations, it takes almost, say, they will say that it is in pipeline, but nothing goes, you know, as per expectations. And then after 2 months, 3 months, they are like, where do we stand? And then we are saying, when we are saying that, you know, this was given long time ago, and because the business owners were not in you know, loop, they were like, you know, okay, we don't know that this didn't go ahead, and you should have asked us and everything. So it's like, you know, pretty crazy experience when you know, the development side implementations are not done. And even these days, I mean, we have seen with many SaaS companies who have signed up with us, they are using Webflow and not WordPress, right? So they are so much keen about not sharing their Webflow, you know, user access to us, so that we can update the blogs and everything on our end. So it's like we feel like, okay, please come on here. I mean, we need to implement these things. Otherwise, we won't be having any control, and we won't be able to show you any results at the end of the month. So we have to just keep on poking on Slack channels and everything that, you know, hey, please go and just get these things done. I mean, I can just relate it with my today's conversation. I mean, I was poking the client since 3 days that we need those landing pages live. If they want to be live, we are not going to help you with anything. So it is
I love this.
super
I
crazy.
really hit the key of the problem here, didn't I? Okay, well, yours. Yeah. Sarah, you got the same sort of feelings and issues?
So the advantage, then, as I said at the beginning, I work for a development company, no? So it took me 4 years now, but I have a clear vision how to bypass all these kind of problems.
Oh,
So how? So the secret is to understand the working sprint, know when the sprint are happening. So even when I work with external clients, my first question is, who is responsible for the development team? Can I speak to the developer directly and have their phone number? Second thing, they work with a PO, no? Normally project owner. It depends what they use, Scrum or no, but normally it's like this. So you want to have the number of the PO. You want to know what is the favorite way of communicating with the PO, and you want to make sure to persecute him. to make sure then when you persecute him, you arrive to put your tickets in the sprint as you want it. So normally they will always be, yeah, but we have like a sprint in a week and it's already booked. No problem. Next sprint is in a month. Okay, I can wait. But let's already go up in the hierarchy and prepare it for next month. So
you're assuming that all your customers are using proper agile agile sort of lean systems.
No. That if they are like this. If you just have, for example, a developer or somebody then will implement, what you have to do is just persecute the developer. I mean, at a certain point, they cannot avoid you forever.
I don't mean to pick you up on you. Like, do you mean persecute or pursue?
No, persecute really. Call them. Cheers.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Sara. How are you?
Okay. That sounds
do
more
it
like
again.
pursue to me. Persecute means put them in jail.
Okay. Allora pursue, sorry. Allora, so it's pursuit. Okay, so wrong
But,
wording, but you got it
Yeah,
correct.
got there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I apologize for that. I mean,
No, thank you.
My Italian is a lot worse. So
No.
I shouldn't really pick you
At
up
least
on that.
I learned a new word now.
So, I mean, one of the things that Inlinks does, and because the show's sponsored by Inlinks, is a good chance to give them a plug here. The good thing about Inlinks' system is that it's a software as a service, so we're not an agency like you guys, but we're injecting via a line of JavaScript, and one of the advantages that has, and then the JavaScript will add the schema and add the internal linking. So we got a lot of agencies who end up using our tool, not necessarily because they wanted to use our tool, but because the only thing they've got access to is Google Tag Manager. And at least now with we can install the code using Google Tag Manager, and then they've got control of the schema and they got control of the internal linking, which gives them a huge advantage and they don't have to go back to the developers. So, and do you think there's a future now, possibly now that Google's so good at JavaScript, that there's a possibility to develop those kind of ideas of getting around, finding places where you don't have to harass the agency's developers? And another way in is Cloudflare and doing things on the edge, which is probably a bit more high tech, or technical. But both those opportunities exist. Do you think there's mileage in those, or do you think that's a short-lived approach? No one wants to go in there for sure. Jake?
I think it sounds great. I think actually like trying to sell that in with a client about, being able to just, slip things in through that way, it might be a little bit of a harder
Might
sell.
depend on the client then. If the client's going to trust you, then that's the thing to do.
Exactly. It's all down to trust when it comes to something like that. Some clients, especially if it's like someone in the finance sector or someone else in like a your money, your life situation, there's probably going to be some level of kind of, things that need ticked off internally by legal and things like that. Even if it is just simple, like I want to change an internal link or something. Some businesses, the wording and things like that might come down to kind of brand teams or legal teams and things like that. But in an ideal world, it sounds great. I just can't say being able to be used across like all businesses.
Then, Himani, what about another way to address it and have, when you start a contract, some kind of escalation procedure? So when you're not getting that response from your direct report, you've already got something in place to say, if it's not moving forward, whether it's you're not happy with your direct report, or your direct report is not happy with the relationship with you, they've both sides have got a way to escalate it without it going straight to I'd like to cancel my account. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's like, usually what we do is, we try and gather the reports, and we try and indirectly tell them that, okay, we planned this much and we have not reached here, right? So we try and pick up their nerves, which is on the, results, right? The results that they have, put in us that, hey, you guys need to achieve these targets by this month. So we just try and share with them that, okay, this was the planned on the state, and here we stand here, and these are the metrics on the analytics, just to inform you. That's it. and we just keep let them, take the decision on what's not going, and then they will pick it up with the team members, and they will tell them that, okay, what is not working and everything. Because most of the time what happens is, we are talking with marketing heads, and obviously they are developer as well. But sometimes, as Sara said, they have their sprints to work upon, and that's why they don't prioritize those activities. So there, it's when you share these reports with business owners and marketing heads, they feel really bad that, okay, this is not working because of us. So then they will escalate it. So that's how it has worked with us.
Okay. All right. Fair dues. So, guys, we're already at 45 minutes. So I'm going to, just before I ask you guys to tell people how they can get hold of you and everything, I want to bring David back in, if I can, to tell us about the next episode and where we should be going.
Well, superb conversation today. I'm sure it could have gone on for a lot longer, but hopefully we're going to have another just as good one next month. It's a great topic. Episode number 26 will be on Monday, the 15th of August. That will be on how to use log files for SEO. We've already got all the guests booked for that one, and the 3 guests are Jerry White, Sophie Brannan and Stephen Van Vessem. Monday, the 15th of August. That's going to be 4 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. Eastern time in the US. Just go to theknowledgepanelshow.com to sign up to watch that one live.
Excellent. If you can find another lady on that one, that would be great, because I just, that's a great crowd coming on already. So it'd be absolutely brilliant. I look forward to that. So, Sara, Himani, and Jake, before you go, why don't you tell people, just remind people who you are and how they can get contact with you? Himani, why don't you go first?
Okay, wonderful. I'm reachable on Twitter, LinkedIn, and even you can search my name on Google and you will find me everywhere. So you can, connect with me on Twitter. You can email me, and my website's URL is missive, MISSIVE digital.com. So you can look at my website and you can search my name on Google and you can connect it with me.
Okay, missivedigital.com. And people can't see your name. So it's HIMANI KANKARIA. Have to do that. So thanks very much. Jake, how do they get hold of you and Reprise Digital?
Yep. So I'm Jake Gauntley. Name is JAKEGAUNTLEY. Search that on LinkedIn, on Twitter. You'll find me on there. And reprisedigital.co.uk for Reprise. And
Sara, how about you? How do they find you?
So I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, and I think just on these two. Probably as my name is Sara, and that is easy, without H, Moccand, Moccand. So just search for Sara Moccand and it will come out Sara Moccand-Sayegh, and you can find me on LinkedIn, on Twitter. And if you want to make your life super easy, just go to Leap, LEEP, which is the company that I work for. You search for people and you will find me.
Brilliant. Okay. Thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate you all coming on today. Thanks to Monsi, to T-Huts, and to Guatam, who all sort of sending us comments in the live feed. If you do want to come on to the live one next time, keep an eye out or sign up on the YouTube channel and you'll get a notification. Guys, thanks very much, and see everybody in Internet Wonderland.
Thank you. It was wonderful.